Desire. Longing for the unattainable. March 27th, Greensboro, North Carolina. Sting gave the World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair all that he could handle, only to lose in a controversial decision. Desire. To be driven for what promises enjoyment or pleasure. June 8th, Miami, Florida. Sting teamed up with the American Dream in an effort to form a tag team worthy to be champion, only to let it slip away. Desire. To be a champion. Colorful, exceptional, graceful. Sting. Once again, the brass ring is offered, and once again, a mountain of a man, a horseman, stands between Sting and that which is desired. No doubt it'll be a brawl. A fall brawl.
Superstation TBS and the NWA would like to welcome you to the Clash of the Champions Fall Brawl live. Stars of the NWA, the Major League of Professional Wrestling. Great to have you on hand. What is going to be a great night for professional wrestling right here on Superstation TBS. I'm Tony Schiavone. Very, very honored to have with me as a guest host the National Wrestling Alliance Heavyweight Champion of the World, Nature Boy Ric Flair. And champ, it's always a privilege to have you with us.
Tony, it's an honor to be with you tonight.
Okay, we have a great lineup, fans. We'll start off with the World Television title, the champion Mike Rotunda against Brad Armstrong. A tag team match, as you'll see Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Nikita Koloff take on the Sheepherders. Then a grudge match, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, will take on Games Master Kevin Sullivan. A Russian chain match, Ricky Morton. The challenge from the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. And then it's all capped off by a match for the U.S. Heavyweight title, Barry Windham, the champion, defending against Sting. The Nature Boy Ric Flair, the National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Champion. If you go down the list of this great sport, and of course the NWA since 1905, the greatest names, the greatest athletes in the world have been World Heavyweight Champion, such as Jack Briscoe, Harley Race, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and of course this man, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, certainly coming up your biggest challenge to date against the total package, Lex Luger.
Well, no doubt about it. Luger has become more than just a formidable opponent. He's become a tremendous opponent for me. But let's talk about the National Wrestling Alliance, Tony. Tonight is the night when the National Wrestling Alliance, in conjunction with TBS, has an opportunity to showcase what we know to be the greatest wrestling in the world, the greatest athletes in the world are in the National Wrestling Alliance. And tonight, the people, millions of people throughout this world have an opportunity to see the greatest skills, the greatest wrestlers. I am particularly interested, of course, in the main event, the United States Heavyweight Championship match between Barry Windham and Sting.
Okay, and fans, as we said, talking about Ric Flair and Lex Luger, there is now a third party. A special referee has been assigned. We'll talk to that man a little bit later on in our telecast. His name is John Ayers, former pro football great with the San Francisco 49ers. Jim Ross and Bob Caudle, two great announcers, will be doing our play-by-play tonight. Let's go down to the ring right now.
Thank you very much, Tony Schiavone. Jim Ross here with Bob Caudle at ringside. Bob, it is electrifying in this facility tonight.
Jim, no doubt about it. Every match all the way from top to bottom, a big main event. And I tell you, all the competitors are aware that they're going to be showcased coast to coast tonight. And believe me, I talked to them in the dressing room earlier. Every man to the man says this is going to be his night.
And fans, if you think it's electrifying out here on the arena floor, it is even more electrifying, if you can believe it, back in the locker rooms. These men are pumped up and ready to showcase their talents, and the great challenge is right here in the squared circle. And without any further ado, let's go up to our ring announcer and the introductions for our first match.
For the NWA World Television title, one fall, 20-minute time limit, the challenger from Marietta, Georgia, weighing 235 pounds, Brad Armstrong. The champion from Syracuse, New York, weighing 240 pounds, Mike Rotunda. Tommy Young officiating.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with this first event right after this timeout. Fall Brawl, everybody. The Clash of Champions 3, the Fall Brawl. This match for that prize right there. The NWA Television Championship of the world. And this crowd is pumped, as we mentioned just moments ago. And that man, Mike Rotunda, will be facing a great challenge. Brad Armstrong from Marietta, Georgia, great athlete. And this should be a great contest, Bob.
Mike Rotunda, Jim, feels like that he's the champion. He is. He feels like that Armstrong has got to come to him. That he doesn't, all he's got to do is make Armstrong come and wrestle the way that Mike Rotunda wants him to wrestle. Mike wants it to go his way. Plus, he's got the other thing outside of the ring, and that's his man right there, the very devious Kevin Sullivan, which always adds a little extra.
Fireman carry takeover by Mike Rotunda. There's Kevin Sullivan. A key point in this match to think about is the Sullivan factor. We know that Sullivan is deranged. Later tonight, he will be nose to nose with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Sullivan almost in a desperate situation here and almost in a frenzied mental state. Collar and elbow tie it back into the ropes. Rotunda reverse it, chop there by Rotunda.
That's exactly where Armstrong doesn't want to be caught, is in the ropes, because as you can see now, when he's back there, no way to get out of the corner. That's where Rotunda can really inflict the damage.
Nice reversal by Rotunda, but Armstrong right on top for the lateral press, and we had a 2 count. Near fall situation here. The young second-generation athlete from Marietta, Georgia, countering Mike Rotunda. You talk about great backgrounds. Of course, Armstrong grew up basically in the sport of professional wrestling. Rotunda learned his skills at the University of Syracuse. So Rotunda, from that new mold of athlete here in the NWA, with a great background in college, and that style, we'll see how it meshes with the style of that man, Brad Armstrong. And this is Armstrong's big opportunity for national television exposure to win the major championship that has eluded him. And Armstrong, what a great heart this kid has. And Rotunda, Bob, as you mentioned, very, very cautious. He wants to dictate the pace of the match.
No doubt about that. Mike Rotunda, a great athlete, as you mentioned, Jim. Not only that, down through the years, we've seen a number of great NWA champions and NWA television champions. Mike Rotunda may be the very best NWA television champion of all time.
I certainly would not want to disagree with that. Great reversal. Drop kick by Armstrong. Quick for the pin. He's not wasting any time here. Right for the lateral press. And this is certainly not what Rotunda wanted to face. Rotunda wanted to be on the offense. He wanted to dictate the pace here. But the youngster from Marietta, Georgia, Brad Armstrong, 8 years pro experience, the 26-year-old native of Georgia, has taken it right to Rotunda here in the early moments of this television championship event.
Brad Armstrong himself feels that he's very underrated, Jim, and I know a lot of people that follow wrestling very closely agree with him 100%. And so far in the match, he's taken it to Rotunda.
Side headlock by Armstrong. Rotunda tried the waist lock to get out of it. Armstrong extremely strong. You can see the great definition in his upper body. A man that works out very religiously, and he's got the side headlock firmly entrenched around the head of Mike Rotunda as referee Tommy Young looks on. Rotunda with a takedown. Nice takedown by Rotunda, rolling Armstrong on his shoulders, and he got a 2 count out of it. That shows that amateur background we talked about, Bob, from Syracuse.
That's right. You talk about technical ability. Rotunda has got it too, and he showed it to you right there. Always thinking in the ring. He knows exactly what's happening, where he is, and what his opponent is going to do next, it seems like. He's always seemed to be ahead, and that's going to make him, I think, continue to make him a great champion.
You know, fans, this match one fall with a 20-minute time limit. That means that one of the key points we want to look for as this progresses is conditioning. These men obviously keenly aware of a 20-minute time limit. They know they've got to let it all out. There's no pacing in this match. This is not a 60-minute time limit match. This should be a strictly offensive contest with a 20-minute time limit, so conditioning will be a major factor. Plus, another factor Bob will look at as the match progresses is the confidence advantage that Mike Rotunda has. He went through the entire summer of the Great American Bash to establish himself as the undisputed television champion. And as you said, perhaps the greatest TV champion the NWA has seen.
Well, that in itself, and that alone was a tremendous feat to go all the way through the bashes to maintain that championship and come out the winner. Well, now watch Armstrong. Good moves on the part of Armstrong. Again, he's showing you that conditioning.
Armstrong got a 2 count out of that lateral press. And the cat quick youngster has got a lot of confidence confidence right here. And to be very honest with you, when we talked to Rotunda in the locker room prior to going on the air, he's a man that had all the confidence. He felt like he had the game plan that was the winning game plan. And thus far, it has been Brad Armstrong shining.
Well, and you saw Kevin Sullivan, as we said before, that Sullivan factor, as he went over to talk to Mike Rotunda. And that's an advantage, Jim, any way you want to look at it. From outside the ring, he can always tell what's happening. He can go in and say, hey, wait a minute, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. He can change the pace, and he can change things for Rotunda.
Collar and elbow tie-up. Armstrong once again with a side headlock. Standing position for both men as Armstrong exerts the pressure on the television champion of the world. Here on the Fall Brawl, coming to you live exclusively here on Superstation TBS. Rotunda now down on both knees. He feels the pressure of this outstanding young athlete.
Well, he's got that headlock locked in tight on Rotunda, no doubt about it. We talked about Armstrong being underrated, Jim. Let's don't forget, though, in 1983 with Magnum TA, he was the tag team champion. They were tag team champions. Also in 1983, he beat Ernie Ladd for a championship.
Armstrong, what a counter move. This kid has got great wrestling instinct. Great instinct for Armstrong. The ring presence has such a bearing on the outcome of these matches, and the fans here are on their feet. They're liking what they're seeing.
We talked about the confidence factor for Mike Rotunda, and as the match progresses, the longer it goes, you can see the confidence now building in Brad Armstrong.
Armstrong right there. Good look at the youngster who has a lot to prove. He said, Jim, I've got a lot to prove to the fans that have stood behind me over the years, and this is his night to really make it happen, to really separate himself from the pack, so to speak. And Rotunda has felt the offense. He has felt the control that Armstrong has initiated thus far in this contest. But there's a reversal and a counter by Armstrong. That's what he's got to do. He's got to counter Rotunda at every opportunity and stay on the offense as long as he can with a sustained attack.
Good reversal right there by Brad Armstrong. We talked about the NWA and the championships. The most prestigious championships in the world are in the NWA. Ranking right up there with the very top, of course, is this television championship, Jim.
Armstrong very basic here with the arm bar. We have to think with the championship on the line that these men will not take any unnecessary chances with a lucrative prize of this television championship. Rotunda thought he had a way out. Armstrong countered it once again. We're seeing a great exhibition of counter wrestling thus far by Brad Armstrong.
Great technical ability on the youngster's part. Again, just look at that move by, boy, I tell you, when Rotunda came up like that with that bridge right up to his feet, that shows you right there strength plus athletic ability to do a move like that.
Rotunda trying a cheap shot. Armstrong retaliates. Back to the wrist lock. Very sound tactics, very sound fundamentals by Brad Armstrong. Of course, we talk about athletic ability. The NWA, I think that's what separates the NWA from any other organization, is the athletic content in these matches. So many superb athletes. You're going to see them in the next 2.5 hours here in the Superstation. Rotunda started at defensive tackle for the Orangemen of Syracuse. He was their starting heavyweight wrestler. That's an indication of the type of athlete that this man is, and that's why he has held that television championship for the duration that he has. He is a great champion.
Every time that Rotunda looks like he's going to get on a roll, Armstrong manages to blunt it and stop it. Oh, that could be bad trouble now for the youngster.
Nice move there by Rotunda to counter Armstrong coming off the ropes. He buried the knee to the midsection. And now Mike Rotunda dropping Armstrong over the top rope. You got to believe he knocked some air out of him when he buried the knee to the midsection, and then dropping him over that top cable bob will take more oxygen away, and that's the fuel that runs this great athlete.
Now, out of the ring, through the ropes, there he goes. There's Sullivan. Again, you always know that Kevin Sullivan is close at hand.
We talked about the Sullivan factor. It can be motivation, it can be strategy, and it also, quite obviously, can be a very physical interference. Sullivan is a deranged, angry individual. And he will face Dusty Rhodes nose to nose later here in the Fall Brawl. But right now, Brad Armstrong has got to regroup here, Bob, and I don't think Rotunda will give him that opportunity.
Rotunda's going to keep him right there on the apron if he can, as he keeps landing those tremendous blows hard down right across the chest. Rotunda now coming on strong.
Rotunda now kicking it in gear. He knows that Kevin Sullivan has helped him create an opportunity that he needs to capitalize on. And look at Sullivan.
Now you got to see what Brad Armstrong is made of.
The conditioning factor we talked about earlier will come into play here. And it's not because of a 20-minute time limit. It's because Brad Armstrong has sustained a lot of extracurricular punishment from Kevin Sullivan.
Tremendous blow by Rotundo as they're outside of the ring, and he's going to get right out there and slam him to the ring, slam him into the post any way he can. Now they're beginning to pound, and I think that's what they want to do, beat him down if possible at this point.
It's going to be real hard for Armstrong to come back with any kind of offense, Bob, after sustaining the punishment that he has for outside the ring. Unfortunately, that's where Kevin Sullivan likes to take it. We know that from the Jimmy Garvin situation. He likes to go outside the ring. It's uncalled for, and Armstrong in big trouble here.
What a suplex that was.
He kicked out. Armstrong, miraculously enough, kicked out of the lateral press of Mike Rotunda, and Rotunda now with a reverse chin lock. And Rotunda, as he wanted to initiate at the opening bell, is dictating the pace at this time of this championship encounter for the NWA World's Television title.
On the mat, Rotundo has really got it locked in tight. Look at him, really put the pressure now to the head of Armstrong.
This crowd getting solidly behind young Brad Armstrong. They want him to, they want this man to succeed. He has a contagious enthusiasm that has spread throughout this facility, and Mike Rotunda now shows that confidence. That's the same expression that we saw, Bob, before we went on the air.
He's going to use everything he can. Of course, Sullivan brought that out in him with a foot into the rope, getting a little extra leverage. He's going to use any weapon he can.
Great officiating there by 6 times referee of the year, Tommy Young. Great job of officiating by the man in the striped shirt. But Rotunda with those European-style forearms, snapping the head back of Brad Armstrong.
Boy, those are tremendously powerful blows. 2 of them with those uppercut forearms. That big blow then right across the throat. And he's staying on the attack now.
It's good wrestling by Rotunda to stay on the attack. He knows the advantage is there. He knows his opportunity is here to put Brad Armstrong away. I think perhaps the point now here is how long can Armstrong last. Lateral press, he's got the leg, but only a 2 count. That's guts, Bob. That is sheer guts. Intestinal fortitude, I should say, perhaps, on the part of Brad Armstrong.
Rotunda had the leg hooked. He had it all just like he wanted it, but he still couldn't hold it. As Armstrong kicked out again, just barely though, at the count of 2, almost 3 counts, and he is weakening right now.
Up on a base, both men, reverse chin lock. It looked as if Rotunda may have pulled the hair there. We could not see from our vantage point. Brad's pointing to his hair. I'm sure he would not fabricate such an act. Rotunda is certainly not above pulling the hair. That's something I think he picked up quite well from Sullivan.
No doubt, Jim, but he saw him as he looked the referee right dead in the eye and shaking his head no. Right now, Sullivan is a lot more relaxed outside the ring, too. He's feeling pretty confident at this point.
Well, I'll tell you, I think Sullivan was feeling a lot more confident, though, Bob, before the match started than he is right now. I think he actually thought that Rotunda would put Armstrong away before now. But look at Armstrong. He's fighting back up. This kid has got a big heart, and he is fighting with all he's got here. Oh, Armstrong was going to give him a big football tackle, and Rotunda nailed him with a clothesline.
Boy, Rotunda really had to speed off of the ropes. He got that forearm just in the right position to really put the clothesline on him hard.
A very arrogant Mike Rotunda lateral press. This should be. No, it's not. He kicked out of it.
Armstrong just won't quit.
I'll tell you something. After the young man, 235-pounder, was hammered out here on the concrete floor unmercifully by Kevin Sullivan, one would think that he would not have enough fight to continue this contest. But that shows you a man like Brad Armstrong. He has got great heart. He's in. I'll tell you, for all the athletes, I know a lot of people, a lot of kids, especially in high school, junior high, getting ready to play football right now. Football season upon us. Conditioning is the key word, and attitude. It'll win a lot of games teams, and hopefully for the Armstrong contingent, it'll win this match for Brad.
And pride. Brad Armstrong has really got pride. Of course he wants that championship belt, and that's what he's fighting so hard for. The championship belt and all that goes with it. But also he's fighting now in heart and pride. What pride this young man's got.
Rotunda has a reverse chin lock, but Armstrong again trying to fight back up. He knows he's got to get back on the attack. The time limit is in the champion's favor. But Rotunda is certainly not in a passive state right here. He's taking it right to Armstrong. He wants to pin.
Well, fans, you can really tell since the beginning of the match. Boy, Armstrong really splattered the floor when he came flying out of the ring. But Rotunda has really changed his style since the opening moments of the match.
Armstrong's head just splattered. I mean, it cracked the concrete here. He's got to be on Dream Street. He can't even be coherent at this point in time. We're talking about an athlete going on intestinal fortitude and instinct. The will to win. It's what Armstrong has. Over the top. He's trying to get him over, but look at Sullivan. That Sullivan factor once again. He might go.
Ooh, he almost had him, Jim. Almost for the 3.
The crowd standing here, many of them. And we had a 2.5 count. And we're looking at inside 5 minutes here, 4 minutes remain. Rotunda trying to put Armstrong away. Armstrong dropped the leg. Big number 76, Dr. Death, the #1 contender for the TV title, is out here. What a cheerleader. And this crowd now getting into it.
Dr. Death, Steve Williams down to cheer on Brad Armstrong. Kevin Sullivan on one side of the ring. Dr. Death on the other.
Dr. Death, great friends with Brad Armstrong, but even greater rivals with Mike Rotunda and Big Doc. He wasn't a cheerleader at OU, but he's leading the cheers here. Sullivan very upset about the time. Inside cradle.
Again a count of 2, and again Armstrong almost had him pinned. He had him rolled up in the package. He just couldn't hold him.
17 minutes, 3 minutes remain.
I'll tell you something, the fans at home, wherever you may be, you can see how big a factor that you can make at an event, because the crowd here getting really behind Armstrong with Dr. Death cheerleading his leadership here with this crowd. But Rotunda now slows it back down. He knows the clock is in his favor.
It's been such a game battle on the part of Brad Armstrong, and all of the fans have picked up. They've all gotten behind him, and they're all pushing for him right now as the time draws very near the end of the match.
Armstrong back up. He's fighting with everything he's got, trying to show the offense. He may not have as much on those punches as he would like, but man, what an attitude, what desire this kid has. There's the airplane spin, perhaps. Yes, it is. Rotunda with the airplane spin on Armstrong. This is Sullivan says it's all over right here, but Rotunda, he went down too. They're both down. We got 2 minutes left on this one. That's a gut check time. A gut check for Armstrong. Brad's got the left shoulder up. I've seen a lot of great athletic contests, Bob. I know in your 20 years with the NWA, you have too. But have you ever seen anybody with a heart like Brad Armstrong tonight?
I tell you, he just refused to quit all the way. He keeps coming back. And every time that Rotunda thinks he's put him away, Armstrong just digs down a little deeper, and he gets more. Again, he kicked out.
A perfectly executed side gut wrench suplex by Mike Rotunda, but Armstrong once again. I mean, from the down to the tips of his toes. Listen to the crowd here.
This could be it now.
Bob, we heard this crowd. They love this kid here. He's capturing the hearts of these people. I know that right now.
19 minutes, 1 minute remaining.
1 minute, Jim, remaining in the match, fans. What a match it's been.
Big right hand by Mike Rotunda.
50 seconds.
Count of 2. This time the right shoulder came up. The last time the left shoulder. Half Nelson into a cradling pinning position here. He's on the ropes, Tommy.
40 seconds.
Again, a count of 2, and again he gets that shoulder up. Armstrong fighting for his life now.
30 seconds.
Can he hold on? That's the key right here. Is can he hold on here? Big clothesline by Mike Rotunda. Down goes Armstrong once again.
20 seconds.
Lateral press. He's got the leg grapevine. And he kicked out.
15 seconds.
We're inside 15 seconds, Bob. Rotunda desperately trying to go for the pin.
9, 8,
Then he tried again. He kicked out. Armstrong just refuses to be pinned.
4, 3, 2, 1.
He's done it. He's done it. Armstrong has gone the distance with the television champion of the world, Dr. Death Steve Williams, in there.
And
Armstrong,
he's just about out on his feet. The Dr. Death just having to hold him over in the corner.
Armstrong at a point of total exhaustion and fatigue. Dr. Death getting him out of here. Oh, what a moral victory for this young kid, Brad Armstrong, right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Rotunda retains the title via the time limit draw. And now let's go back upstairs to Tony Schiavone and Nature Boy Ric Flair.
All right, Jim Ross, thank you very much. We saw a great champion, Mike Rotunda, and a guy with a lot of heart, Brad Armstrong. And we're here with the World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Certainly Brad Armstrong showed us tonight that he has a lot of heart, and he really took the champion to the limit.
Well, Brad Armstrong is one of the finest athletes in all of professional wrestling. Tonight he met a man who may well be the greatest world television champion of all time, and he went out and gave Mike Rotunda all he had. This is what I said earlier. These athletes know that they're being showcased tonight. There are millions of people watching, and every athlete tonight will be out there to do his best.
You know, every athlete in the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, prides itself on being well-conditioned, well-trained. And I know you being the top in our sport today, top conditioning means a lot to you as well as does the other athletes.
Well, Tony Vince Lombardi said it best, fatigue makes cowards of us all, and Ric Flair has never been a coward. Ric Flair climbs into that ring each night knowing he's in the best condition of any athlete in all of professional sports.
Okay, let's go back, if we could, to July 10th, and the match that had us all talking. Ric Flair and Lex Luger for the NWA World Heavyweight title. Now, I know the match was stopped because of blood, and say what you want to about the way the match ended, but Ric Flair and Lex Luger gave us one of the greatest matches I had ever seen, and I know that when you think about Lex Luger, the total package, certainly the man poses maybe the biggest threat you've ever had to that title.
There's no doubt about it. Lex Luger probably possesses the second greatest set of physical skills of any athlete in our sport, the first being myself.
Right.
Luger's awesome. He's 6'5". He's 280 pounds. He possesses tremendous strength, and he has a heart to back it up. He's played professional football. He knows what it is to be a winner, but he also knows that to become the world's heavyweight champion and to wear the most coveted trophy in all of professional sports, he has to beat a man that has beaten all the big names, all the names you mentioned earlier, from Dory Funk Jr. to Jack Briscoe to Harley Race to Dusty Rhodes. Ric Flair went through each and every one of them at one time or another to get where he is today, and that is to the pinnacle of our sport, the World's Heavyweight Championship. So the bottom line is Lex Luger has to beat Ric Flair regardless.
Okay, Lex Luger, the total package. You know, we talk about the great champions the NWA has seen, and of course, it is in the ring, the 1, 2, 3 count that makes champions. But outside of the ring, and I talked to this man many times, so much confidence from the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and that's one of your strong points, I think. Regardless of the challenge that poses out there, Ric Flair comes out here and shows us the confidence that has made him a champion also.
Well, Ric Flair styles and profiles Tony Schiavone, as you know, 24 hours a day. It's an honor for me to be out here with you tonight. Even though I'm not wrestling on this great program, I am the flagship for this great sport. In the National Wrestling Alliance, we know to be the greatest wrestling organization in the world. I am Ric Flair, I'm the world champion, and as I said earlier, Tony, it's a great honor to be out here. Confidence, I exude confidence. I've never walked that aisle not knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was the best man in that building each and every night.
Fans, there's only one NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He'll be with us once again tonight. We'll be talking to him. When we come back, Bob Cottle and Jim Ross will review the situation, including gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and the Games Master Kevin Sullivan, right here on the Fall Brawl.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A lot more great action still to come. Nikita Koloff and Dr. Death take on the Sheep Herders in just a few moments. But, Bob, we wanted to update the fans on the situation involving gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. Jimmy Garvin sustained a broken leg, ladies and gentlemen. He's had to have surgery on the leg. He's going to be out of action for an indefinite length of time. And, Bob, I think it's very appalling that action has gone outside the ring to the nature that it has.
I think you're right there, 100%, Jimmy. You know, the NWA really looks with disdain on that. Just a few months ago, for instance, Dusty Rhodes was suspended for an altercation outside the ring with a baseball bat. Well, so far, there's been no suspension and no fine here. But we know that the NWA has looked at the tapes. They've still got this under advisement, so something yet could happen.
Fans, you be the judge. And what would you do in this situation? Let's review now the situation involving Kevin Sullivan and gorgeous Jimmy Garvin.
There is gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. Here's Precious, and what's Sullivan doing? Kevin Sullivan got her, and they're not wasting any time. They're going right at it.
Well, still Garvin is trying to fight Sullivan, and Rotunda's intervening here. They're double teaming. And
oh, look at Patty.
Oh, God, he just threw her around the concrete.
She can hardly get up either. What has he got in his hand?
Oh, good God, he's breaking blocks all over his legs. Jesus.
We need somebody out here to get gorgeous Jimmy Garvin.
God.
He slammed these cinder blocks or whatever they were on his leg, and he screamed in pain.
Good Lord.
He screamed out just now, my God, my leg is broke.
Man, I don't know if it's broke or not. The security people and the...
Well, there you see Dusty Rhodes, Sting, some of the Fantastics, Mike Jackson all out. Precious seems to be okay. She was shoved also. This is just a group of startling events right here. Jimmy Garvin is, I've never seen him in that much pain. And Precious, you can't see her right now, quite visibly shaken.
We're trying to take a look here, fans. The camera's looking right at the action. That young lady is, man, hasn't she gone through enough? Hasn't she gone through enough from Kevin Sullivan and those... Well, you don't want to say what's on your mind. Yeah, that was one word I could use, but there's a lot of others. This is, well, I don't know.
One fall, 20-minute time limit from New Zealand, accompanied by their flag bearer, Rick Morgan, with a combined weight of 482 pounds, Butch Miller and Luke Williams, the Sheep Herders. Their opponents from the Soviet Union, weighing 137 kilos, Nikita Koloff and his partner from Oklahoma, weighing 280 pounds, Dr. Death, Steve Williams.
Special tag team challenge event here, fans. One fall, 20-minute time limit. Dr. Death and Nikita Koloff taking on the veteran team of the Sheep Herders. Key points in this match, Bob, that we have to identify here is that the Sheep Herders quite obviously have a big edge in experience.
They do that, Jim, because they've been wrestling as tag team partners for over 10 years. And while Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Nikita Koloff have been wrestling some tag team, they're primarily known as individual wrestlers in single matches. They haven't worked nearly as long together. Another thing, the Sheep Herders like to do what they were doing right there, and that's brawl.
Big Dr. Death ready to fight with them, and so is Nikita. The Sheep Herders' style is very physical. They're brawlers from down under. Very physical, very tough individuals. But I think another key point here is that Dr. Death and Nikita must wrestle these men. Don't go to their level. Don't go to the Sheep Herder's strength. Wrestle them. And I think both the men, Williams and Koloff, both have great abilities to wrestle these two others.
Well, there's no doubt that Dr. Death Steve Williams has a tremendous amount of wrestling ability, four-time NCAA All-American and wrestling champion. He's got a tremendous wrestling background. He's got a great body and a lot of power and a lot of strength and speed to go with that. So as you say, get him down, let's wrestle him, let's beat him that way.
Big football tackle by number 76 to the Oklahoma Sooners. Big Dr. Death wore that jersey to the ring, and that football tackle certainly indicative of his God-given athletic ability. Boy, you talk about an ugly character. Rip Morgan, the flag bearer, and he could be a factor in this match, fans, as it progresses. We have seen him get involved before.
That's right. You got to keep one eye on Rip Morgan outside of the ring if you're in there, because if possible, Morgan's going to get in there some way or other. He's going to try to have some bearing on what happens.
Dr. Death goes down. Williams steps over. Big Doc meets him with a big tackle. And Crazy Luke. Here comes Miller in to try Big Doc on for size.
Here's Morgan. Well, he thought better of it at the last moment.
Well, he used some good judgment there.
Do you think that guy's not pumped?
Doc is pumped up. Dr. Death and Nikita Koloff want to get involved in the tag team situation that has really, awakened the wrestling world as far as tag team wrestling is concerned. I'm talking specifically about the two finest tag teams in the world today. And I'm speaking of Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the world champions. And Jim Cornette's Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane. What a rivalry they have. But there are a lot of other teams, Bob, that are ready to accept the challenge when that situation is solved.
There's a great lineup. Let's don't forget the Fantastics. Ivan Koloff and the Assassin, that's another one. What about the Road Warriors, the Varsity Club? And the list goes on and on.
So we're in a situation here, fans, where the Sheepherders, they won a major title. They've wrestled in 37 countries. They want the 38th country to be the World's or the United States Tag Team Championship. Working over Nikita Koloff. Koloff reverses it. Koloff puts on the brakes. Butch thinks he's outsmarted him.
Excellent move on the part of Koloff. When you talk about improvement in the technical aspects of wrestling, Nikita Koloff has really come a long way in a short period of time.
Nikita Koloff, as Dr. Death did earlier in the match, asserting himself very firmly to the Sheepherders. You know, as we said, the Sheepherders have been partners for over 10 years. And the pressure on both these teams to leave here with a victory is immense, because somewhere down the line we have to think that the Horsemen and the Midnight Express will settle their situation. And then who will be next to challenge the champions? Will it be the Sheepherders, or could it be Dr. Death and Nikita Koloff?
Well, you said the Sheepherders wanted a championship. What they really want, they want a United States title. They want a United States championship. That's what they want to hang on their wall.
Nikita Koloff now in the Sheepherders' corner. When the Sheepherders have the opportunity to control the tempo, you will see them cut off the ring. They will wrestle in their half of the ring, and they will tag in frequently. Nikita knows that. He's fighting his way back out to the middle of the ring, and now works his way to his corner to tag in the Doctor.
Boy, the big man is ready. Over the top rope and off of that rope. Big, powerful, tremendous athlete.
Dr. Death, 6'1.5", 283. Came out of Lakewood, Colorado High School. Went to the University of Oklahoma. What an athlete he was there. Dr. Death now living in Shreveport, Louisiana. Big Doc now backed into the ropes. There he goes for the ride. Good agility by the Doctor. And a clothesline. And out goes Crazy Luke all the way to the concrete floor. But he's bouncing right back in. These Sheepherders are brawlers, but they're so resilient. They're tough.
They really know how to take the punishment. They can take it. They keep coming back. They bounce back. As we said, they like it that way. That's what they want. And they're going to get it right here. Here's Williams on the top rope.
283 off the top. Can he hold him down? And Butch Miller kicked Doc right in the back of the head. That's 283 from the top rope. And tagging in Nikita Koloff. We talked about the Sheepherders cutting the ring in half and tagging in and out very frequently. That's what Koloff and Doc are doing right here. That's a great tribute to two men that have not tagged that much, but they've got a great game plan.
They've certainly gone over it. They know what they want to do. They've got that plan down pat, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to wrestle exactly the way they planned it. And so far, they've done an excellent job with it. You talk about being brawler and getting down and dirty. You think Dr. Death Steve Williams does know what it's like in that Oklahoma line. It doesn't get any dirtier than it does in there sometimes, Jim. he can go with the best.
You see those great athletes, college backgrounds in NWA, like a Ron Simmons from Florida State, Rick Steiner from Michigan, Rotunda from Syracuse, Dr. Death from Oklahoma. That's the difference in the NWA, the intense competition, the best versus the best, and it is, I mean, man-on-man athletic competition at its very best. Dr. Death trying to hold on to that arm. He takes Williams off his feet. It's Williams versus Williams, obviously no relation.
Dr. Death reached back, made the tag. Koloff, and as you said earlier, they're working so well as a team, trying to stay in their corner, trying to tag often, and that's what all the good tag teams do.
Watch Nikita Koloff drop those elbows when he gets the opportunity. He tries to land right on the bicep or the tricep. He'll knot it up, almost make a Charlie horse-like effect in the muscle, to where it saps the strength out of it. And so they're working on that arm of Luke Williams. Knee to the midsection by Nikita Koloff, but a right to the eye from crazy Luke Williams of the Sheepherders. And it will not be pretty if they get on the offense. They are really sadistic, and high impact is their specialty.
Looks like they're almost impervious to pain. They just about don't feel the blows. Good move right there, though, by Koloff. Good arm drag.
It shows you how much this young man has improved. He has been a World Tag Team Champion, the TV Champion, and the U.S. Champion. He knows what it's like to wear the gold around his waist, but he is always improving. The arm drag, the drop kick, new to Nikita's arsenal, and Big Dr. Death is pumped and fired up. Oh, he results all the way to post. Oh.
He missed that in the corner, drove that shoulder hard to the post. He's in severe pain now in the corner on the mat.
Doc was always a very enthusiastic football player, Bob. In college, he had more personal foul penalties than anybody in the offensive line in the Big 8 his senior year. So he's a very aggressive individual and a very overzealous there. Now we'll see the Sheepherders go to work, and let's see if they'll keep Doc, if they can keep Doc in their half of the ring, or at least away from his corner.
You know, that's what they're going to try to do. We talked about the experience before, and certainly as many tag team matches as they've been in, the experience that they've got, that's exactly what they're going to try to do, and they almost had a pin.
Both teams have high impact tendencies, a lot of knees, elbows, clubbing-like blows, but Williams and Koloff, I feel, are better wrestlers. That's what they need to do when the opportunity presents itself, but the Sheepherders just may not let that opportunity present itself again in this contest.
Williams shaking that head, trying to shake it off here.
Luke Williams nailed Doc right in the head.
Boy, that's got to get your attention when you land a blow like that and a guy just looks you straight in the eye.
But he got nailed from behind, we should add, by Butch Miller. Lateral press count of 1-2, Doc kicks out. You got to think that the great teams like the Road Warriors, the Fantastics, and of course, the #1 and #2 teams in wrestling today. I admire those two teams so much. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and the Midnight Express. Their battle rages on for the supremacy in tag team wrestling. But who's in the on-deck circle? Who will be the next challenger for either the Horsemen or the Midnight Express? A lot of the wrestling media think it will be one of these two teams right here.
And it certainly could be when you're talking about the very best. The World Tag Team Champions, United States Tag Team Champions, both of those championships coveted by all of the tag teams throughout the NWA. All of them the greatest teams in the world. And again, Doc is shaking it off.
The Sheepherders are coming at Dr. Death with every clubbing blow that they can muster, everything that they can create. Williams being held there, but he moved out of the way. Miscalculation, a mistake by the veteran team. Nikita tags in. Koloff now with right hands on Butch Miller. Koloff is rested, and he's on fire here in this challenge event.
The Sheepherders are going to pay for that mistake, as Koloff now is going to make them pay. Miller held into the corner by Koloff on the ropes, and here he goes.
Koloff with those big right hands to the face of Butch Miller. Miller goes for the ride. There's the flag bearer.
Well, we said before, Butch Miller's going to make his presence felt. He did right there. Just when Koloff had Rip Morgan, just when he had it going his way, Morgan stuck that hand right through the ropes. And Jim, as we said, he was going to do it. You got to be on the lookout for him.
That third man, that third element, certainly a contending factor for anybody. And look at Williams bury that knee into the ribs of Nikita Koloff, trying to bust those ribs, bust Nikita up if he can here. the Koloff sternum, right smack that security railing that surrounds the ring here.
That's a steel fence around the ring, and Koloff hit it with full force.
Koloff trying to fight back. Look at him. He is fighting with all he's got, but he's sustained so much punishment here. And we know that the sheepherders have a very high threshold of pain.
And they're doing what they do best right now. We said they're very physical, that they're brawlers, and that's exactly what the match has turned into. And as we said earlier, it's what Dr. Death and Nikita Koloff didn't want to happen.
The pressure on both these teams to walk away with a victory here on the Fall Brawl that you're seeing live exclusively here on Superstation TBS. The pressure to win is immense in this contest. High risk. Miller with a headbutt. He nailed him with it right in the chest. Turning Koloff over. This could be it right here, fans. If he goes to the pin, he's taking a lot of time to cover him, Bob.
Koloff looked like he was lifeless on the mat, but as you said, he took just too much time.
Nikita Koloff is a long way away from the corner of his corner, I should say, where Dr. Death Steve Williams should stay. Doc can't let his emotion carry him away.
And again,
the crowd getting in this. It's like the sixth man in basketball. The crowd means something to these athletes, I can tell you that.
the sheepherders again trying to keep the injured man in, not let him get to the corner. They're doing a good job. They cut Nikita Koloff off twice now when he's trying to get down the ropes. Again, he kicks out, but again, he's not going to be able to make a tag.
Tag team strategy is not that complex to figure out. It's relatively simple. You try to get your opponent and keep him in the ring as long as you can while you're tagging in and out as often as you can. That's what we have right here. And Dr. Death, letting his emotion run away with him here, should get back to the corner. The referee, Tommy Young, had to get Doc out of the ring. Good officiating.
But it really cost his partner Nikita Koloff. It enabled the sheepherders to double team him.
You have to remain unemotional in an emotional situation. And Butch Miller grabbing at the ankles of Nikita Koloff as Koloff's outstretched body only 12 or 14 inches away from making a tag to big Dr. Death Steve Williams, who is anxiously awaiting more combat against the sheepherders in this special challenge match on the Fall Brawl. Koloff fighting back, but look where he is. No Dr. Death in sight. Koloff is in a neutral corner.
Absolutely right, in a neutral corner, still a long way from the tag, again on the mat, as again he's floored by the right hand, and Koloff now, for the last several minutes, has just been fighting to try to get to the corner for a tag.
Koloff goes for the ride. Sleeper by the veteran Luke Williams. For 10 years, he's been partners with Butch Miller. They know every trick in the book. They've been in some of the bloodiest brawls in wrestling history, all over the country, all over the world for that matter. They know, the veterans know what's on the line. And the young stars like Dr. Death and Nikita, they know what's on the line.
And right now, can Nikita Koloff break that sleeper? Can he get to the ropes? Can he get out of it? The pressure being applied on the sleeper, and they're near the center of the ring.
Luke Williams with a sleeper hold. And Nikita Koloff, out of desperation, freed himself for just a moment. And right back, the veteran, right back on the attack. No wasted motion this time from Luke Williams right.
Well, Luke went right in front of him again to cut him off in the corner. Koloff ducking him over the ropes. He goes from that right hand.
What a right hand by Nikita Koloff. Luke Williams now fighting to get back in the ring. And the flag bearer, Ric Morgan, just buried that flagpole into the kidneys of Dr. Death Steve Williams. Nikita's in the corner, Doc.
Nikita went to the corner for the tag. Williams was not at home.
That was provoked by the flag bearer. What are you going to do when a man jabs a flagpole in your kidneys? You're going to go after him. That's what Dr. Death did, but it was a mistake. I mean, anybody's going to make it. Emotion plays such a big part of these athletic contests. Here's a high risk. He nails this when it's over.
Off on the top rope. He missed that headbutt right on his head.
Make the tag. It's what he's got to do. He's got to crawl down those ropes and make the tag. for the stampede or perhaps a press slam. Doc was clipped just like on a football field from behind by Butch Miller.
Miller, Williams, Morgan, all three in the ring. Tremendous moves on the part of the big man, Dr. Death Steve Williams. But Williams got his legs cut right out from under him, and now he's hurt.
Russian single! It took him out of his shoes! What impact! He's got him! The Russian single from Nikita Koloff to Miller out of his boots! And Dr. Death and Nikita Koloff have won this! What a battle and what a victory! And we'll be right back with Dusty Rhodes and Kevin Sullivan after this timeout. And we're back here, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Ross and Bob Collett ringside. Coming to you live here in the Clash of Champions 3, the Fall Brawl. It's the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and Games Master Kevin Sullivan, Bob. And this one could be just as apt to end up in the nickel seats as it is to end up right here in the middle of the ring.
No doubt. Whenever you got Kevin Sullivan around, you can expect anything to happen. The guy, you've heard it said that some people's elevators don't go to the top floor. This guy doesn't even have an elevator. That's the kind of man Kevin Sullivan is.
Sullivan caught Rhodes in the clothesline, but Big Dust didn't go down. The elbow, outside goes Sullivan, and Big Dust, the son of a punter, is right on top of him, right here on the table.
Right there,
He's turning. You can hear the thud of Sullivan's skull. Gary Hart trying to get in the act. Sullivan ran into Hart by Rhodes.
Boy, the crowd goes wild, and Jim, we couldn't even get out of the way. Rhodes slammed him to the table here at the desk, not once, but 4 or 5 times, and then right into Gary Hart.
Sullivan's got some metal object there that they, I'm sure that, well, tell somebody else your problems.
Let the nation know what he is.
Yeah, well,
he's nothing but a vicious dog. I was doing nothing. Let the nation know about it.
Yeah, he's never done. What a choir boy he is, huh?
That was Gary Hart,
Yeah.
fans. You heard him. He said he wanted the nation to know that he wasn't doing anything. Oh, that guy, you know, he's just as pure as a driven snow.
Well, he got nailed because what he was thinking then. And we know those were evil thoughts. Big Dust says, 292-pounder from Allen, Texas, the son of a plumber, originally from Austin. 3 times heavyweight champion of the world, and he's one of the few men, one of the very, very few men that can say that he has ever beat Ric Flair.
The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, with some scores to settle. And Jim, I think one of them probably is for Jimmy Garvin.
Kevin Sullivan waiting the action of the board of directors. What kind of action are they going to take? Of course, we'll keep everybody updated on that right here on the Superstation. But right now, Sullivan is involved in a real dog fight.
Talking about dog fights, what about dog collar matches?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we do know that there has been the big challenge issued. Rhodes has accepted the dog collar match. It is coming up once the negotiations finally get worked out. The bionic elbow, Tommy Young trying to go between, and Sullivan with a karate thrust right to the throat of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
He went rolling all the way across the ring. Sullivan, when you talk about what kind of an individual he is and the mind he's got, let's don't forget that what a competitor he is. The guy goes all out 100% completely, and he'll fight you tooth and nail right to the bitter end.
The Boston Battler, Kevin Sullivan, great 4-sport athlete in high school. The last man to enter in 4 sports in interscholastic athletics in the state of Massachusetts. So we know he's a great athlete. But look at this. Hart's got his shoe off. Hitting Rhodes, trying to drive that shoe right in the Rhodes' heart. The point of the shoe right into the heart of Dusty Rhodes.
And as everybody saw, he wasn't doing a thing right there, Jim.
Yeah, he's as innocent as he can be. Innocent as Al Capone and Charles Manson.
You know, whenever you got a Gary Hart, a Jim Cornette, a Rip Morgan, the third man outside of the ring, you're always at a real disadvantage. And Hart who is a real master. He knows what it's all about. He's been around a long time. And Gary Hart never ties on to a loser. Nothing but winners in his corner.
Sullivan with a reverse chin lock on the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. We know the challenge is there. Both men will have a dog collar strapped tightly around their neck, joined by a long chain. And there, Sullivan's got a piece of metal in his right hand. He's jabbing into the throat. That's the spike. That's that spike that we have seen him use. We've seen him use before.
Gary Hart passed it in to Sullivan from outside of the ring. Sullivan had it right to the throat of Dusty Rhodes, and then he managed to pass it back over again to Gary Hart. The referee never saw any of it, Jim.
Kevin Sullivan, the man responsible for hospitalizing Jimmy Garvin, for no doubt shortening Garvin's career, because it's hard to think if Garvin can ever come back at 100%. Lord knows we hope that he does. But Sullivan responsible for the hospitalization and all the heartbreak that Precious has endured during the summer. And right here, Gary Hart, who we know, he has said it on this great superstation, that since 1974, he has wanted to injure Dusty Rhodes to the point that he cannot wrestle again. That's a sadistic individual right there.
That's been the one goal that Gary Hart has had in mind for a long, long time. The thing that he's aimed for. Get rid of Dusty Rhodes. Put him out of wrestling for once and all.
Dusty Rhodes, he was raised with no silver spoon in his mouth. He grew up fighting. He went south of the border on that one. And now we may float like a large butterfly and sting like a real big old bee.
Up on his toes with those left-hand jabs. Big, hard right hand.
292 pounds, and he is double tough. Sullivan, a thumb right to the eye of the American Dream. Both these men have high thresholds of pain.
Sullivan again had that spike in his hand.
Rhodes has got the spike.
Yes, sir. The Dream has got it.
Rhodes just buried his spike to the top of Sullivan's head. He's there for the pin, and Hart drags Rhodes outside. Hart rakes the eyes, temporarily blinding the American Dream. Hart wants Sullivan to come out and help him.
He wants some help now.
Here comes Al Perez.
From behind. Watch out. Perez with a chain.
Perez, that's a chain they're going to use in a dog collar match. It's getting nasty right here. Perez, Sullivan, double teaming the American Dream. Working him over with a chain that the dog collar is attached to.
Rhodes is helpless on the mat. Perez, Sullivan, both stomping, kicking away at him. And Sullivan is beating and whipping him with that big chain.
The big Texan's got to reach down here. Rhodes, their heads cracked together. Rhodes has got hard pain. Tommy Rhodes going to kill him. Yes, sir. The American Dream lives on. Big Dust got his Duke raised, and we'll be right back with more live action after this timeout.
Fans of the sports world today, there's a lot of demands, a lot of stipulations to be met. And Nature Boy Ric Flair, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and the total package Lex Luger. Of course, we talk about the third element in the ring now, the special referee assigned. We're very pleased to have with us number 68, left guard, San Francisco 49ers, 11 years in the NFL, one of the greatest offensive linemen ever. Big John Ayers with us. And John, you've been assigned to be the special referee for this match. NWA World Heavyweight title. And I know you know a lot about pressure in the big game.
I've been very fortunate in my career, Tony, having the opportunity to play in a lot of championship games and pressure situations. And this is probably the most prestigious match or title, the National Wrestling Alliance Heavyweight World Championship, in wrestling. It's the title that anybody wants.
We all know John Ayers' reputation, one of the greatest professional football players of all time. 2 Super Bowl rings. The 49ers did it all when Big John was with it. But let me ask you a question, Big John. In my own modest way, I got to know what qualifies you to referee a World's Heavyweight Championship match, a match that you know is done with 2 wrestlers. It's not a team sport. We're talking about the big time, pal. Tell me what qualifies you to referee a match that the World Heavyweight Champion's in.
I think I'm qualified in that I know something about wrestling, and I'm an impartial judge.
I'll tell you how I see this, Tony Schiavone. I see John Ayers, as I said before, one of the greats of all time, a former football player along with Lex Luger, who was a former football player. And I see Jim Crockett stopping at no expense to bring in someone else to help railroad Ric Flair. John Ayers is financially overdue, pal. He's got a 10,000-acre ranch. And I'm going to tell you right now, Big John, I'm not Lawrence Taylor. I'm not Randy White. I'm not any of the National Football League players, but I am the world's heavyweight wrestling champion. And big man, I hope that you're not looking for a future after football in professional wrestling.
John?
Well, like I said before, you know, it's going to be, I'm impartial. May the best man win. I'll call it like I see it, and I will not be intimidated.
Well, I think that's a key right there. We talked about needing a big man in the ring, and intimidation, of course, a part of the sport, and not being intimidated will be good. John, thank you very much. We hope to see more of you, of course. And then again, I know it's a big match coming up. Ric Flair and Lex Luger for the World Heavyweight title with John Ayers, the special referee.
What does that mean?
Let's go back to the ring, fans.
Our next event, the Russian Chainsaw, the chain match. To win this match, the man must drag his opponent around the ring, touching all 4 corners consecutively. Paul Jones, manager, along with the Russian assassin, and from the Soviet Union, weighing 122 kilos, the Russian bear, Ivan Koloff. His opponent from Tennessee, weighing 223 pounds, Ricky Morton.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have this Russian chain match right after this timeout. We're back here, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Ross, Bob Caudle here ringside. The Clash of Champions 3, the Fall Brawl. This is a Russian chain match. It has no time limit. Falls do not count, Bob. And the first man to consecutively touch all 4 ring corners will win this match.
All right, Jim, you're right. And fans, just in case you're not familiar with it, each man is going to be locked into that chain around the wrist. There's going to be a leather strap around the wrist of each man. The only thing separating them is going to be that big, heavy chain. You got to get your opponent in such condition, Jim, that you can literally drag him around the ring from corner to corner. And as you said, consecutively touch the 4 ring posts around the ring. Then you're going to be a winner. Well, one thing you got to do is really get your opponent in bad shape. A man's just not going to let you drag him around the ring. So it's a brutal match all the way.
I talked to Ricky before we went on the air. He said he was going to dedicate this match to his dad, who's doing very well back in Tennessee, former great referee in professional wrestling. So Ricky's, this one's for his father. So he's got a lot of incentive right here. And Ivan Koloff has got some high stakes as well. We talk about must-win situations. Paul Jones seems to think that Ivan Koloff needs to prove himself of all things. I find that rather ludicrous. But in any event, Koloff is in basically a must-win situation tonight.
Well, it seems that Paul Jones for some weeks now has been saying that Ivan Koloff is the weak link in that chain of his. Of course, you and I have never seen that. And as you say, Koloff definitely out to prove that. But this match, this Russian change match, he's a master at it. The very best at it is Ivan Koloff.
Ricky Morton showing his quickness there. Well, that's one way to make good use of a chain. Morton at 224. Always, because of his great ability and quickness, can make up for any size disadvantage. But the size disadvantage may be a big factor in this match, Bob, and I know you know why.
Well, it's going to give Koloff the advantage. He's going to be able really to drag Morton around the ring. He's going to outweigh him some 40 pounds, so he's got the strength advantage right there. Not only that, I think one of the important factors is, tied to that chain as you are, it sort of negates some of the tremendous athletic ability that Ricky Morton has. You can't get around the ring and do but so much. There's two corners already.
Koloff has touched two corners. Ricky Morton trying to pull back as much as he can. You know, thinking back just a moment ago, Big John Ayers, I think, is a very wise choice. He is the proverbial strong, silent type. Big John did his talking on the gridiron. He did it quite well, and he'll do it again in the ring. He wasn't all-pro and has 2 Super Bowl rings because of his public speaking ability.
Well, and he also said he wasn't going to be intimidated. That's an important factor.
And he won't.
All right, right here's an interesting situation. Outside of the ring with that chain. Now, what do you do in a case like this?
Morton using the chain for some leverage. He's here on the outside, pulling down on Ivan, whereas Koloff had to try to pull up on Morton. So Morton in that event had the advantage. Morton wraps the chain around his hand, and he buried it right to the sternum of Ivan Koloff here, the Russian Bear. Perhaps the most respected Russian athlete ever in professional wrestling. And no doubt the master of the Russian chain match, as my colleague Bob Cottle mentioned earlier in this match.
Well, Ricky Morton, of course, most of Morton's matches have been as a tag team. He and his tag team partners have had great success over the years. Also now, Morton, we're really wanting to prove himself that he can go as a singles, but he really picked a lulu of a match, and that's his chain match. This is a brutal match, and a man can receive a very serious injury in a chain match.
Koloff has drugged Morton to one corner, and now the second. To wrestle Ivan Koloff in a normal match is a tremendous challenge. But in Koloff's specialty, the Russian chain match, it is even a greater challenge for Ricky Morton. But this is his first opportunity on prime time as a singles competitor to show exactly what he's made of, and thus far it has been a very closely fought and evenly fought battle. And I thought that Koloff, who has got to be, Bob, considered in this match an overwhelming favorite because of his experience, of his size, and of the amount of chain matches he has had in his long career.
Evidently, Ricky Morton has really thought a lot about this match. He already has begun to use that chain in many, many ways as a weapon in the ring, and he's made good use of that weapon. Now trying to drag Koloff. Here again, we said, was the weight factor. You saw what a problem he was having dragging Koloff around the ring.
As we mentioned, Morton has got great quickness, but that quickness is all. The end for a quickness is a pin, and pins do not count in this match. It's the first man to drag or to pull his opponent and consecutively touch all 4 ring corners. That's how you win it. But right now, Ivan Koloff going perhaps all the way up to the top. And if he comes off on Morton to weaken him enough, it'll be obviously much easier. But Morton pulled him off! Ricky Morton pulled off Koloff right off the top.
Boy, he cut him a somersault with that as he jerked hard on that chain, and Koloff came flying out to the center of the ring off that top rope. And fans, this is not just chain. This is what we used to call plain old cow chain. That's big, heavy chain they've got in there.
It's like a log chain, Bob. Something that people would see in the rural parts of America. And we do thank the fans wherever you may be for tuning into Superstation TBS here for the Clash of Champions 3, the Fall Brawl. And we're coming to you live right here, right now. Koloff trying to choke the life out of Ricky Morton. Koloff now slowed it down to his pace, and that chain will now become a weapon. You can bet at every opportunity. He's got Morton hung with it.
He's gonna hang him on his back. On his back with a chain around his throat. Again, Koloff, as we said, the master of the chain match. He knows every maneuver you can do with that chain.
If he can choke him into unconsciousness, he can pull him around quite easily. But Ricky Morton fights back. I want to tell you something. Koloff may not have picked the biggest man to fight, size-wise, but I got to think that Ricky Morton's got the biggest heart right now.
That guy's all heart, no doubt about that. Tremendous heart.
Koloff hammers away at Ricky Morton. Morton down on both knees, now comes back up. Snap mare by Ivan Koloff. And Koloff measuring that chain. And he wraps Morton right across the abdomen with that chain. Just like he was lashing him with a leather belt, but this is a log chain.
Powerful blows. Tremendous blows as he's whipping Morton, as Morton is flat out on the mat.
Koloff.
Here we go again to the corners.
He starts the sequence once again. Now he's got to touch all four of them without being brought off his feet. He's touched two. He's tagging Morton. And Ricky Morton, that's the third corner. We're 16 feet away from history.
One to go, and it'll all be over. Koloff desperately now. Morton hanging onto the leg.
Morton hanging on to the leg. He's got both ankles firmly entrenched. Koloff goes off his feet, and so we'll have to start a new sequence here in the chain match. But Morton hammering away at the cranium of Ivan Koloff here. Now Ricky Morton's going to choke him, Bob.
The chain around the throat of Koloff, and every time Koloff uses that chain, Morton learns a little more about what it's for and how you use it.
You know, the uniqueness of a Russian chain match really changes basic wrestling strategy because you eliminate a pinfall. The basic element, the carrot that you go for in a wrestling match is a pinning predicament. The 1, 2, 3. Well, that's not even, that isn't even in the cards here whatsoever.
No, and a match like this really favors your heavier brawler type individual, because to drag your man around the ring, you got to beat him almost into submission. And a real good, quick athlete that really wants to wrestle and goes for the pinfall, I think, is at a disadvantage.
Paul Jones nervously pacing at ringside. Jones knows that a lot of his credibility, a lot of his managerial credibility on the line here. And as a result of that, he's really put Ivan Koloff under a lot of pressure. Now, the last time Ivan went up top, he came off right on his back. Morton met him with a right hand, perhaps a chain right in the face of Koloff. Normal situation would dictate Ricky would go for the pin here.
Right. But there's no pin in this situation. In this match, fan, you got to drag him. Here goes Morton. Now he's going to attempt it as he's got Koloff by the arm. One corner.
Ricky Morton goes to the first corner. Ricky, you can see Ricky had a lot of problems pulling a man that outweighs him some 40-odd pounds. And after Morton has been hammered away in this match by Ricky Morton, the young man from the volunteer state of Tennessee, is 3/4 of the way to an upset victory over Ivan Koloff. And Jones is getting a little itchy here.
Only one to go, and he's almost halfway there.
Koloff, both feet wrapped around the bottom rope to hold himself. Morton, about 2 feet, 2 or 3 feet from the turnbuckle. Jones now getting a little desperate. Jones telling Koloff to pull back, but Ivan can't let go.
Koloff holding on for dear life. Look at Jones now. With a riding crop right there, trying to hold on to the leg.
He wants Koloff to take that riding crop for leverage. Jones is giving added leverage to Koloff. Jones riding crop, a distant leverage there. There you can see it. Morton pulling with all he's got. Ricky Morton straining every muscle in his body.
He's only about a foot away from it.
Jones came loose, and Morton at the Russian chain match, and Jones is incensed. Here comes the Russian assassin back to the ring. The 6'8" monster from the Soviet Union.
Into the ring. He goes right to Morton.
Jones having words with Ivan Koloff. The Russian assassin there throws Ricky Morton all the way, oh my gosh, to the concrete. Russian assassin out there hammering away at Morton now. But Jones and Koloff, hey, it was Jones's fault, Bob.
Yeah, that's right, and they're still at work. Jones is all over Koloff. He's all on his case about it. Koloff trying to explain to him that he let go of the crowd, the riding crowd.
Well, let's see what's going to develop here. And Ivan has how long he can stand from this dictator-like Paul Jones. But look behind Ivan, the Russian assassin. He's 6'8", 330. He's turned on his comrade. Here's another one. There's another Russian. There's two Russian masked men and Paul Jones trying to do a number on Ivan Koloff, who's fighting back, but he can't. And who's going to help him?
Something we never thought we would see happen. Paul Jones, Ivan Koloff being pounded by the two Russians and Jones. Clothesline with a chain.
Russia's hammering away, trying to stop Ivan into unconsciousness here.
Unbelievable turn of events here.
There are two Russian assassins, and they're both big men. Koloff now, look at the biggest assassin there. We'll call him number one, Russian assassin one. But Ivan's back could be broken right there. Or sprained or something. All that weight coming down in that position he was in. And now they're slowly wrapping the chain around his hand.
Jones is not going to be satisfied. He keeps saying, give him more, give him more. What does the guy want?
Jones wants more of the chain. Jones says, pick it up and do it again. I want some more punishment and pain. They call him the power of pain, Paul Jones, and he is hammered away. And orchestra, look at Jones kick him in the head with those boots. Ivan busted open there. This chain, this is a very dangerous situation here.
All three of them now continue to pound away at Koloff.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out. We'll be right back, fans. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Classic Champions 3, the Fall Brawl. Here at ringside with John Ayers. And ladies and gentlemen, this man has earned 2 Super Bowl rings. He played 11 years in the National Football League, and he will be the 3rd man in the ring when Ric Flair wrestles Lex Luger for the heavyweight championship of the world. Now, John, I know that you've been down in one of the most violent sport in the country, the National Football League. Ric Flair does a lot of talking, but I know that I feel real comfortable with you as a 3rd man in the ring. But what are your thoughts going into the match?
Well, Jim, what you have to do is you let Ric Flair do what he does best, and that's talk. And when we get in the ring, I hope he doesn't think for 1 minute that I'm not going to be the one that's in charge.
I know one thing. You're not intimidated by Ric Flair or Lex Luger, for that matter, are you?
No, I'm not.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's one big man that's going to be fair, he's going to be impartial, and he will not be intimidated. And now let's go up to the ring for the introductions of our main event.
This is a one-fall match. Time limit is based on the television time remaining. For the U.S. heavyweight title, the challenger from Venice Beach, California, weighing 260 pounds, Sting! And the leader of the Four Horsemen, James J. Dillon, introduces the U.S. heavyweight champion from Sweetwater, Texas, weighing 265 pounds, Barry Windham!
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event coming up. Bob Caudle and John Ayers and I will be right back after this timeout. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Ross and Bob Caudle here at ringside. The Clash of Champions 3, the Fall Brawl. And the special official for the upcoming World's Heavyweight Championship match just days away, John Ayers, will be observing this match here at ringside. John's got one of the best seats in the house. There you see the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship belt. Tommy Young is displaying to the crowd, and Bob, this really should be a classic. This kid has got the desire. He knows what he wants.
No doubt about it, Sting. I tell you, we've seen Sting in matches prior to this where he's taken a world champion right to the wire. Desire and heart. The kid has got so much desire, Jim. I don't think I've ever seen in all of the years that I've been associated with the NBA any young man come in and in such a short period of time have such an impact on the sport that Sting has had.
This kid will celebrate his 3rd anniversary in wrestling on Thanksgiving Day. Arm drag takedown by the Stinger. Barry Windham on the other hand, an 8-year veteran. He's so young in age, and look at those great wrestling moves. Verbal intimidation. Sting 6'2", Windham 6'6", and as I have said before, these two young lions, I think, are going to have something to say about the course that the sport of professional wrestling takes in the next few years.
These two are going to be at the top for a long, long time to come. There's no doubt about that. But as you mentioned, Barry Windham, with the age and the experience here, he knows how to slow it down, how to get Sting out of his rhythm, how to turn it around, get things changed if they're not going his way. And of course, he's always got that third man outside of the ring looking in to give him the advice when he needs it, Mr. James J. Dillon.
Good football tackle by the Sweetwater, Texas native. Leapfrogs high over, Sting up in the air. Stinger all the way over. He has Windham confused there. Football tackle. Down goes Windham again. There's a drop kick right on the button, Bob. And remember, Windham is 6'6".
And Sting getting right up to land those drop kicks right squarely on the button. Well, the youngster, as you say, less than 3 years a professional wrestler now, has never held a major title, Jim, but could tonight be the night?
His destiny, according to all the fans that I've talked with and the wrestling media, is that it is destined that this young man, the Stinger, be a champion, and this is his opportunity right here in prime time, baby. The Fall Brawl here on the Superstation. But that man, Barry Windham, the undisputed U.S. champion, we saw the last time on our national broadcast in very controversial fashion. He went with Dusty Rhodes. What a battle that was. And right back here against the Stinger with a U.S. title on the line. Bob, I think one of the key points that we need to talk about, that man, I'm sure, has had a tremendous game plan for 2 reasons. One, James J. Dillon, that's his forte. And the second, Ric Flair would give, belly to back suplex. But look at Sting jump up and a drop kick.
Again, he gets so high in the air, and the power he gets behind those drop kicks.
Well, I was talking about a game plan, but so much for the game plan when a guy can jump up and stick both feet in your face. To heck with a game plan.
I think you're right, and I think you were going to say Ric Flair, he was going to get a lot of good out of seeing Barry Windham really manhandle Sting. He wanted him to work Sting over.
My point is that I think Sting's game plan may not be as clearly defined as Windham because of James J. Dillon, because of the hours that the Horsemen, and I'm talking about Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, they're constantly looking at videotape of the Midnight Express. And so Dillon is a master of putting together winning, underline that word, winning game plans. So, and it's not to take anything away from Sting's ability to think and to put his own plan together, but Windham has got a staff of people helping him mentally prepare for this match.
Barry Windham, as you said, 6'6", 264 pounds, a tremendous athlete, and he's got the world at his fingertips. Nothing but a tremendous future ahead for this one. And Sting the same way. We talked about the first Clash of the Champions. Now as they're beginning to really jaw at each other, the Stinger had to get a tremendous amount of confidence when he went with the world champion.
Well, you're exactly right, because Flair, no doubt, is the greatest heavyweight champion that this sport has ever known, bar none. And right there, Windham showing that he is technically, you know, the wrestling media talks about great technical athletes. Windham always figures very high in the balloting for the great technicians in this sport. When the magazines do their year-end polls. And right there on the second rope, the big youngster, 6'6", 264 pounds, hammers down with the stinger. There's a inverted atomic drop, and that'll take you to the chiropractor.
Just lifted him up and carried him right out of the corner.
Stinger now sends Windham for the ride. High elevation. The big champion was up in the lights on that move. And the Stinger, who I don't know of anybody ever in wrestling that has made the kind of impact that he has made in their first 2 years in the sport. Right hands to the head of Barry Windham.
He had Windham tied in that corner as he came hard with the right hands. And Windham, who took those blows right squarely into the jaw and the top of the head, face down to the mat. Boy, Sting's going to stay right on top of him.
He's a very physical individual. And Windham, I think, needs to start wrestling if he can. A counter move, and the Stinger startling James J. Dillon there. JJ says he's crazy. Jim Cornette says Jim Dillon's crazy. So I don't know what all that means, but
boy, that shows you the power. He just picked Windham up. He just manhandled him. Missed that elbow, though.
And when he misses an elbow, it is not a normal move because of the elevation that he gets on that move. As I have said on many occasions, he can turn a normal wrestling maneuver into something this simply spectacular. But Windham now, stopping that momentum of Sting, buries the knee to the ribs, and Stinger down on both knees, gasping for a little breath here.
You talk about the experience factor, and there it was. When you make a mistake, you saw how quickly Windham pounced on it. That's what he was looking for, an opening and a mistake, and Sting made it.
I feel that both these men are very, very evenly matched, and the elimination of Ayers as this progresses will be a key factor in the outcome. Windham now follows the Stinger outside. We hate to see these things go outside. They need to be settled in the ring. But Windham's going to take every liberty, every opportunity to take as much out of the Stinger as he can before he is forced by the referee's count to get back in the ring.
He ripped right across the eyes of the Stinger, quickly rolls back into the ring. And I think something that has made Barry Windham even more deadly, Jim, in recent months, and that is the claw hold that he's added to his repertoire. We've seen him win many a match now with a tremendous power in that right hand, that claw hold of his.
The claw to Barry Windham is the same as a scorpion is to the Stinger. It is their coup de grace. It is their maneuver, their move, their offensive move that puts their opponents away. And Windham now slamming Sting on the concrete floor. And Windham, a lot of confidence.
And the match now taking place more out of the ring than in the ring.
Windham back in the ring. He is, even though he's only 27 years old, Barry Windham, 8 years in the sport. He knows his way around the ring extremely well. Another second-generation athlete that has great ring presence, great ring savvy, if you will. And that is something that the Stinger will obviously lack because he doesn't have that experience as of yet.
Windham now going to try to bring him back to the ring with that suplex. Can he do it? Boy, that takes power.
Great standing suplex, perfectly executed.
You see that, Ayers? That's what it's all about, big boy. Being number one.
Well, Barry Windham speaking to John Ayers here at ringside, setting with Bob Caudle and I, and Windham now right back on the attack. He cannot let this young man get a second win.
No, he tell you, he better keep his mind on Sting. He might have the shoulders to the mat there.
Sting just too weak at this point in time in the match. It's going to take more than a sunset flip, that type of pinning move, to put Windham's shoulders down. He is a tremendous United States champion, and there has been so many great champions, almost a legendary status in the NWA that have held the U.S. title. Such a prestigious championship. We've talked about key points in this match. What about the influence of James J. Dillon on the outside? Oh, yeah, here comes that power slam of Windham. It is perfect.
Oh, man, when he caught him coming off of the ropes, he really put the shoulder and the power to it when he slammed him hard to the mat, and that really pleased James J. Dillon. You talked about the influence of Dillon. Let's don't forget the influence of the other horsemen also. Since Barry Windham has been in the stable of the Four Horsemen, a tremendous change has come over him. But I tell you, when you got the likes of Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Tully Blanchard,
If you practice like winners, you play like winners.
Right.
If you're around winners, you're going to play like winners. You're going to compete as a winner. That's an old adage that's been a long time. Inside cradle. Stinger's got him wrapped up. Can he hold him down? He got a 2 count. Boy, we're looking at a half a count away from a big victory celebration for the Stinger right there.
We almost had a new United States champion right there, fans. As you said, Jim, only about a half a count. The referee had the hand in the air, ready to slap the mat with it.
You know, we look at common opponents for these two men, and one of the great measuring sticks before Windham became a horseman, what battles he had with Nature Boy Ric Flair, what battle Sting has had with a great champion. And Windham, oh my God, all the way over. Did he hit his head on the top row, on the post? I couldn't see. He's balancing himself, and the Stinger helped him all the way out.
All he had to do was just give him one little bitty shove. He could just reach up and touch the leg, and that's all it took to send Windham flying over the rope.
Dillon wants a disqualification, but no way could that be a disqualification. And the Stinger, oh, smack. Look at Windham, the blank look on his face. Stinger runs him to the other ring. Oh, gosh. Now, what is a champion made of? The United States champion has been busted by the challenger.
Onto the floor, and now here they come toward us at our table. And down goes Windham now, slammed hard into the table.
Man,
wow.
I don't know, you can hear the thud in the top row of this arena. Windham is busted open, and he is just perhaps he's unconscious or...
It looked like he's out on his feet, Jim. He just went reeling and fell right over that fence.
All right, let's get ourselves together here. What good is the count out going to do for the Stinger? He knows that. He's pulling Windham back in the ring, but the champion comes back in the ring to fight, and the Stinger biting him away. My point is that Sting needs to keep Windham in the ring now. Windham must get on the attack. That's what Sting has got to do.
I think we're seeing a side of the Sting that we've never seen before either, Jim.
You know, we've had an opportunity to call a lot of great main events right here in the Superstation on the NWA main event hotline. Great main events. But this one right here, fans, has all the electricity, all the emotion. That is the National Wrestling Alliance. And the Stinger now adding the insult, the injury to the United States champion. But he's got to start putting those offensive moves together and get some pinning predicaments here with Windham in this weakened state.
Windham now for the last several minutes appearing to be out on his feet. He's reeled and he's staggered, he's stumbled and he's fallen. But still, Stinger has not been able to put the shoulders to the mat.
Great drop kick by the Stinger, Windham down. There's the inexperience for Sting. He's too close to the ropes. Would not have got a pin anyway. But Windham now back up to his feet. Sting sends him for the ride, and there is a sleeper. He told us before the match he might use this maneuver right here, because Windham had not seen the Stinger use this in the past to any degree of effectiveness. But with the help of a man like Dusty Rhodes, who has learned the Weaver lock, and a great sleeper, the Stinger's got some pointers here, and Windham now is weakening, Bob. You can see and tell by his motions, his physical motions, he's weakening here.
Down on his knees now, Windham, from that sleeper hole as the referee checks the arm. And I think you're right, Jim. He sort of prepared himself. He was going to be certain that the Stinger didn't get him in that Scorpion Deathlock. This may be a surprise, and I think a very good move on the part of Sting.
We have to think that Sting was very aware of the big gloved right hand of Barry Windham and the claw. Conversely, Windham knows that the Stinger's coup de grace is the Scorpion Deathlock. And though others may try to imitate the Deathlock, there is only one Scorpion by the Stinger, and he's got it perfected. And look, JJ's almost in a desperate situation here.
Boy, I tell you, you saw the concern on the face of James A. Dillon, and you don't see that look on the face of Dillon very often, but he is truly concerned here. His champion now, battered, beaten, brawled around the ring, staggering and reeling, and it could end any time for the United States champion.
Sting right back with a sleeper. Windham now trying to stay. He's trying to keep moving. He's trying to keep the blood flowing to his brain to keep moving, not get into a prone position. Windham, here's a technical move right here. Can he pull it off? Windham dropped the knee of Sting right across his own leg. It freed him from the sleeper hold.
That was an experience factor. Windham, even though he was almost out, and the punishment he has been taken, he still knew where he was and what to do, and the experience showed right there. I think Sting may have got a little impatient.
We talked about ring presence earlier in the night with the great youngster Brad Armstrong being a second-generation wrestler. It's almost seemingly an hereditary trait for these second-generation athletes to have that great ring presence, almost like second nature. Windham now.
Well,
The point of attack, the leg, I thought, Bob. He's going upstairs a little bit, but now he's back working on the knee of Sting. Such a delicate part of the body is the knee.
He got him with that knee drop when he broke that sleeper, and he's been right back on that knee. Windham again will show you his experience here. If you get him hurt, stay with it, step over toe. He looks like he's trying to get him in a figure four.
Shades of the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Nobody does it better than the Nature Boy. And Lex Luger, I'm sure, would say amen to that as they prepare for their pending battle. But right here, Windham, a surprise move, Bob. We've seen him use this before, but never with any real dependency.
Reaching back to get the ropes. He's got a little extra leverage, and boy, Sting really feeling the pain in that knee.
Tommy Young is just exactly where he should be, because if the Stinger says, I'm going to give it up, he's got to get the hole broken before Sting can have his knee torn out or a leg broken, whatever the case may be. But in the meantime, it allows Windham to take a shortcut. And the ropes, or J.J. Dillon, is the shortcut that he likes to take.
Windham now with all of his strength, getting that extra leverage on that knee.
Well, I'll tell you, after Windham busted open, he's trying to recuperate here. Now, after applying the figure four, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of pace we're going to maintain the duration of this match, because they both now sustained a lot of punishment.
And Jim, it's been all-out action since the opening bell. Neither one has slowed down. They've both taken a lot of punishment, and they've dished it out again. Dillon, that time he was caught. The referee now, Tommy Young, he's going to make him break the hold.
You know, that may have been an error on Dillon's part right there. I don't know, because one may think that Stinger, they couldn't have sustained a lot more punishment if he'd have been in the middle of the ring. But you know, he has been hurt right here trying to stand up. That's the courage this kid has. He wants to be a champion so badly that he can taste it. And he's trying to do everything he can now just to stand up and compete with a United States champion.
Hobbling on the leg, and again now Windham lifts him high to the air. Around he goes with that powerful suplex.
Belly to back suplex. 6'6", 264, the United States champion. There's the challenger. As we said, this Thanksgiving will be he will celebrate his third year in the sport. And can anybody name a man that in 2 years has made the impact that the Stinger has in professional wrestling? And look at him fight back. We're going to the streets with this one, Bob. The stakes are high here in prime time.
Sting now coming back with those big, powerful right hands. A suplex now to Windham. Good heavens, they just keep going back and forth with it.
A lot of punishment, a lot of high-impact maneuvers. And look at Windham. Windham has got the claw on the pectoral muscle of the Stinger. The Stinger was going to suplex him, but Windham with that vice-like grip just attached to it. I mean, like a pit bulldog. And there you can see a great camera shot there. And we had some great shots all night. Right there you can see he's buried those hands. His fingers are almost hidden. They're so far in the flesh of the Stinger.
And Windham digging down again.
I'm surprised, Bob, that he hasn't used the claw before now, and I'm even more surprised that he hasn't put it right on the head, because that's where he can really reach it in.
If he ever gets it around the head, with the tremendous amount of pressure and power he's got in that hand, if he had it around the head of Sting, he could put him to the mat and put his shoulders down for the count of 3. Sting on his feet now, fighting it.
Sting trying to get up, keep that circulation going. The pain's got to be shooting right through that arm. But the right hand hammers and finds a home for the blood-soaked head of Barry Windham. And Windham all the way outside. A great move by the Stinger, perhaps out of desperation, but in any event, very, very effective.
And Windham really went flying through the ropes. Boy, he sailed right out of the ring, didn't even touch the apron, splattered that hard concrete.
Stinger now bringing Windham back in. Windham right up. The table has turned. You can feel the momentum changing here. The momentum changing. And the United States Heavyweight Championship on the line. High elevation. Once again, the big champion in the lights. The Stinger drops that elbow right into the spot in the middle of the back. And one more time, and Windham fighting his way up to his feet. This is a brawl. This is a fall brawl in itself.
Two young warriors, each one of them refusing to give an inch as they stand toe-to-toe and dish it out to each other. They both determined that he's not going to beat a man to weaken. Jim, I don't know how much more they can take. They have both taken a tremendous amount of punishment since the opening bell.
Windham finally reversed Sting. Sting. Oh, there's a referee. Tommy Young just went all the way out to the concrete floor here. The Stinger evaded Barry Windham, but Tommy Young did not. And the Stinger now opening up on Barry Windham. There goes Windham for the ride. The Stinger sets back. The Stinger splash! The Stinger splash! And the champion is in trouble. The United States Championship is in jeopardy here. The Scorpion Deathlock being locked in. Jim Dillon's got a chair. JJ's got a chair. The Stinger met Dillon as he came in. Now Windham has a chair. Keep your eye on the champion.
There's Bedlam in the ring now.
Windham just used a chair on Sting. Tommy Young is dazed. James J. Dillon dazed, but both men now trying to shake it loose. Can the Stinger shake? I ain't believing what we're seeing here. Don't let this happen. Big John Ayers in there.
Well, he went charging in to stop the referee. He stopped the count and pulls Windham off.
Hey, Big John is 6'5", 270 pounds. We got a winner by disqualification. We got a winner by disqualification. James J. Dillon is incensed at John Ayers. Look at Ayers, has got James J. Dillon up. Ayers said, get out of my face. You or any other horseman or anybody else is going to intimidate me. Big John Ayers and Tommy Young raising a hand. That man, the winner by disqualification. Hey, Ric Flair and Lex Luger, they got a big referee, and we'll be back. Don't you go away. We'll be right back. Tremendous program right here on the Superstation, but I want to tell you one thing. Ric Flair and Lex Luger got one referee that is big, he's strong, and he's going to be impartial.
Ain't any doubt about that. John Ayers, as you say, big enough, strong enough to make a difference, and we know that he's honest to the core, and when that match takes place, the best man's going to win it.
Just could be the difference. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for Bob Cottle, I'm Jim Ross. We're going to send it back upstairs to Brad Muster's favorite wrestler, Ric Flair, and Tony Schiavone.
All right, thank you very much, Jim Ross. Great program here tonight on the Superstation. We're talking once again to the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
It's just lovely to think that John Ayers comes here under the pretense of being a guest host and sticks his big nose right where it doesn't belong, and that's in a match. Ayers, if this is what the future holds for me, pal, remember what I said. Life after football is not pro wrestling for you. And Lex Luger, the world knows it. You're watching this show. The whole world's watching it. And let me tell you, Lex Luger, for all your awesome physical credentials, the bottom line is, pal, I'm the world's heavyweight wrestling champion, and all that football notoriety means nothing. You've got to walk that aisle, and you've got to beat the very best. So you and John Ayers, talk it over. Make your plans. Hug Jim Crockett around the neck. But the bottom line is, to be the man, Lex Luger, you got to beat the man, and I'm the man. Woo! How about that, Shivani?
Okay, the World Heavyweight
That's
Champion,
right.
NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And a great program here tonight on Superstation TBS. We remind you to join us at 6:05 Eastern Time for 2 hours of World Championship Wrestling coming up this
And
Saturday.
I'll be the star once again.
And don't forget, fans, to join us for NWA Main Event Sunday at 6:05 right here on Superstation
I'll be the
TBS.
star of that
For
show,
Bob
too.
Cottle and Jim Ross, I'm Tony Schiavone. Have a good night, everybody.
Woo.